far down as you go. Yeah, get around as close as you need to, and don't hesitate to document and bring up any questions that pop into your mind as we're doing this. Yeah, we're gonna pull the cheeks off, the jowl, which is the side of the face. It's, all of this right here, the jowl. Which you can kind of see it has a bit of the bacon thing going on with fat, meat, fat strips of that. Looks a little bit hairy, a little hairy and farmy right now. The jowl is very special.
Are you following the bone line, or you just basically?
Yeah, I cut down to the bone. I feel the jaw, which is what. And then, in general, when you're boning out meat, if you don't know where you're going, just follow the bone. Keep one plane of your knife on the bone.
For those that weren't here yesterday, we were all wondering, what if you just stuck the whole thing on a barbecue? And he said you could for like 6 to 8 hours, and then the whole thing is just digging delicious.
Yeah, and that's when you're in pork cookery, and this is why I like fat pigs. Fat is forgiveness. The trickiest thing to cook on a pig is the pork chop, because it's got no fat in it. It's so easy to dry it out. It's also the least flavorful cut on the entire animal. But if you've got fat, like from a Boston shoulder roast or a head, all this white is fat. This is probably mostly fat. You can't dry it out. You can't mess it up. You can't overcook it. That's what pulled pork is. You just put it in a low oven, 270, 300 degrees, and walk away for 4 hours, and then forget about it for another 3 hours, and come back and it'll be perfect. It'll be excellent. It'll be falling apart and browned on the outside. So you're going to follow that jaw, and there's one muscle, TJ, that you can see here that we're going to try to leave on the jaw, and it's this masticator. I think that's what it is. It's the chewing muscle that pulls the jaw up and down right there. Because with the guanciale, it's nice just to have it be mostly a solid brick of fat. So you'll just keep following this line, and you'll eventually come up. You'll feel this cheekbone right here, right under the eye. And when you're there, you can just cut it straight off, right up to under the ear. Yeah. So that's how we'll take that one off, and this one for the jowl. And then I think we'll put them we'll designate a curing tub for everything that's going to be cured as we create it. And rather than clean and trim them now, we'll just put them in that tub. And then when we get into actual curing, we'll put them all in.
How long is the curing process? Anything going to be cured today, or is this like a long?
It's not today. It's not going to be finished today. So it's stuff that TJ is going to continue. And fortunately, at least for my brand, there's no ratio, there's no recipe for, this many pounds of meat means you need this much salt, means you need this many days on the salt before you rinse it off. There's no ratio or recipe. It's much better to focus on what you are doing when you're curing, which is drying it out. To make bacon, you're just pulling water out. That's it. You're using salt to pull it out through osmosis. And so it's done when it's not wet anymore. And then it will keep literally until the end of the cosmos, or until you eat it first. Usually the latter comes first. Yeah, it's very simple, and we'll focus on the basic process. And that's how you make prosciutto, guanciale, pancetta, bacon. It's all the same. The only difference is where it comes from on the pig. But the process is identical.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's why recipes mystify that. They make you think that they're very different things. But they're not at all. You just need to have a basic understanding of the process.
So if you don't use enough salt, though, you risk letting it stay moist way too long, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
and fortunately, if it doesn't work for you, which, by the way, that has never happened to me or anyone else that I know who I've instructed on how to cure this, but if it does, the first thing you'll get is a green slime on the outside of the meat, and it's not spoiled. That's just it's the beginning of a spoilage bacteria that's just on the surface of the meat. And you can just kind of rinse it with some distilled vinegar, and then put it back on the salt. If it goes really, really bad, which, again, that's actually only happened to me once, and I still kind of ate it.
Kind of dated?
Yeah, I did a little bit of
Maybe it came back up.
I did a little bit of it, and I was like, I've got so much other beautiful stuff hanging up here. I'm not going to waste my time on this. But you know it. There is no question. You're never going to come to a piece of meat hanging in your kitchen and go, oh, I don't know. You will know, objectively.
And with whole meat cures, botulism is not a problem.
Exactly.
It's anaerobic, so there's no chance for it to set up on the surface.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this
Salami's
more
different.
too. Yeah, salami is a totally different thing, and we'll get into all the differences. And in general, you want to, because of that, encourage draftiness and airflow, and a generally dryish environment, not too humid, which you guys have no problem with out here. Yeah. So with that, let's go. We'll get 4 people to come out here.